Welcome to the channel. If you're a man looking to build strong, healthy relationships and truly understand women, you're in the right place. Relationships can be confusing, even for the most intelligent men. Women by nature are complex. Even they don't always fully understand themselves. When men misinterpret women's behaviors, emotions, or expectations, they can fall into patterns that lead to frustration, heartbreak, or even manipulation. Too often, men make subtle but costly mistakes that drain their confidence, self-respect, and financial and emotional well-being. But the good news? Once you recognize these patterns, you can break free from them and start approaching relationships with clarity and strength. In today's video, we'll cover 9 common mistakes even intelligent men make regarding women, and, more importantly, how to avoid them. Remember to stick around until the end, because understanding these points could change how you navigate dating. 1. Putting a woman on a pedestal. At first, it feels like the right thing to do. You meet a woman who captivates you. Naturally, you want to spend as much time with her as possible. You text her first thing in the morning. You cancel plans with friends just to be available. You adjust your schedule to fit hers. The gym sessions you once never missed, suddenly they don't seem as important. The business project you were once obsessed with, it can wait. Every decision you make revolves around her, and in your mind, this proves how much you care. But in reality, the more you prioritize her over yourself, the more she pulls away. Women don't fall for men who make them their purpose. They are drawn to men with a direction, a drive, something that excites them beyond the relationship. At first, she might enjoy the attention, but over time, something shifts. She notices that the qualities that once made you attractive, your independence, discipline, and ambition, are slowly fading. You become predictable, too available, and always ready to please. And when a man loses the very essence of what made him desirable in the first place, the woman he adores will inevitably lose interest. Attraction is rooted in admiration. A woman doesn't just want to be desired, she wants to respect the man she's with. Respect is what fuels long-term attraction, and respect is earned through action. A man who is steadfast in his goals, who stays true to his mission no matter who enters his life, commands respect. But a man who abandons his ambitions to accommodate a relationship loses the foundation that intrigues him. Consider a man who is deeply passionate about his career, fitness, and self-improvement. Before meeting a woman, his routine is unshakable. He wakes early to work on his business, pushes himself in the gym, and constantly seeks growth. This man naturally attracts women. His drive and purpose make him magnetic. But then he meets someone. Slowly he begins to shift. He skips workouts to spend more time with her, puts off necessary projects to be available, and starts seeking her validation more than his progress. In his mind, he's proving his devotion, but in her eyes, he's losing the qualities that made him stand out in the first place. The solution is not to neglect a woman, but to never neglect yourself. A woman should complement your journey, not become the journey itself. When a man stays committed to his path, a woman naturally follows. She doesn't want to be the reason you abandon your purpose. She wants to be inspired by it. She wants to feel that she is a part of something greater, not the sole focus of your existence. A fulfilled life outside of her makes you more attractive and ensures that your sense of worth is never dependent on her presence. The most substantial relationships are built when a man remains unshaken in his purpose, when he doesn't chase but instead leads, when he doesn't revolve around her, he continues moving forward, allowing her to walk beside him. Women respect men with a mission. Respect is the foundation of deep, lasting attraction. 2. Trying to impress her with money. Many men believe lavish gifts and expensive dates will win a woman's heart. At first it may seem compelling. She smiles at the surprises, thanks him for the luxury and enjoys the attention, but beneath the surface something crucial is happening. A woman may appreciate financial generosity, but doesn't respect a man who thinks money makes him valuable. Attraction isn't built on transactions. When a man relies on wealth to impress, he signals insecurity, that he isn't enough alone. The problem isn't just attracting the wrong women, but losing the right ones. A woman drawn to wealth stays only as long as the benefits last. When the gifts stop, so does her affection. Meanwhile, the woman who values confidence and emotional strength never gets to see who he is. While he's planning another extravagant date, she's texting a man who has spent nothing but makes her feel something real. Money can open doors, but can't create genuine connections. A man who commands respect doesn't need to buy it, he builds it. Actual desirability comes from confidence, purpose, and leadership. The right woman won't measure his worth by his bank account, but by the strength of his character. 3. Chasing her attention. A man who constantly chases a woman believes effort alone will win her affection. He texts first, adjusts his schedule for her, and prioritizes her over everything. But instead of drawing her closer, his eagerness pushes her away. Women are not attracted to men who make them their sole focus. They value men with purpose and ambition. The moment a man over-pursues, he shifts the dynamic. Instead of being a prize, he becomes an option. High-def men don't chase. Their attention is scarce, making it valuable. A woman instinctively knows when a man has options, not because he flaunts them, but because he doesn't seek constant reassurance. He lets things unfold naturally, giving her space to invest as well. Social proof also plays a role. Women often desire men whom others find attractive. When a man appears confident and independent, she wonders about him, and her interest grows. The key is self-focus. A man should pursue goals and passions, not external validation. This isn't about playing games. It's about genuinely being fulfilled beyond romance. Women respect men who are driven and self-sufficient. Ironically, the less a man chases, the more he attracts. His attention becomes something to be earned, not freely given. Chasing signals desperation. Instead of saying, "Choose me," be the man who makes her feel lucky to be chosen. The difference isn't effort in pursuit, it's effort in self-growth. 4. Being resistant to walking away. There comes a moment in every relationship when a man is faced with a choice: tolerate disrespect or walk away with dignity. Many men make the mistake of staying, hoping that things will change, that she will suddenly realize his worth, and that if he just... Women test men in ways that are not always obvious. It might start small: a sarcastic remark, an eye roll, a cancelled plan. Then, gradually, it escalates. She talks down to him in front of others, flakes on commitments without apology, or plays emotional games to keep him uncertain. Each is a test, even if she doesn't consciously realize she's doing it. She wants to see what he will tolerate, how far she can push, and whether he values himself enough to demand better. A man who allows this behavior, excuses it, and rationalizes it as just how she is, sends a clear message. His self-respect is negotiable, and once a woman senses that a man does not fully respect himself, her attraction for him begins to fade. A weak man clings to the hope that she will change if he is patient, loving, or understanding enough. He convinces himself that he is losing something valuable if he walks away. However, The actual loss is staying in a dynamic where he is not valued. A strong man, on the other hand, does not plead or negotiate for respect. He addresses the issue once, sets boundaries, and leaves if the behavior continues. He does not do this out of anger or spite. He does it because he understands that a man who respects himself does not beg for attention or chase after someone who does not appreciate him. When a man walks away from a woman who disrespects him, he reclaims his power. He shifts the dynamic, not by playing games, but by demonstrating his unwillingness to lower his standards for anyone. Paradoxically, this often reignites a woman's attraction. When she sees that he is willing to walk away, she realizes he is a man of value who will not tolerate anything less than the respect he deserves. But even if she doesn't return, the lesson remains the same. A man who values himself never stays where he is not respected. The moment he hesitates to leave is the moment he loses control of the relationship. And a man who loses control of the relationship has already lost her, whether she is physically there or not. 5. Oversharing your feelings too soon. There is a fine line between emotional openness and emotional overload. Many men unknowingly cross it early in a relationship. The belief that vulnerability creates deep connections is only partially true. While women appreciate emotional availability, they do not respond well to unchecked emotional dumping. A man who shares too much too soon mistakenly assumes that honesty and openness will fast-track intimacy. Instead, it often has the opposite effect. Attraction is built on intrigue, strength, and emotional stability. When a man immediately lays bare all his fears, insecurities, and past wounds, he risks shifting from romantic to parental. A woman may initially listen with compassion, but if she starts feeling like she needs to nurture and reassure him, she subconsciously moves into a mothering role rather than seeing him as a potential partner. The shift is subtle but profound. Instead of viewing him as someone she can admire and respect, she starts feeling responsible for his emotional well-being, which inevitably diminishes attraction. A common mistake is that vulnerability should be unconditional at every dating stage. Early on, a woman still assesses whether a man can be a source of strength, stability, and excitement. If he reveals too much emotional baggage before trust and connection are fully established, it can make him seem overly dependent on her approval. No woman wants to feel like she's dating a project. She wants a man who can carry his weight emotionally, someone she can rely on, rather than someone who constantly leans on her for reassurance. This doesn't mean a man should be emotionally closed off. The key is strategic sharing, revealing parts of himself gradually in a way that deepens attraction rather than overwhelming her with emotional complexity. A well-timed personal story, a subtle admission of past struggles with a clear resolution, or an honest but confident acknowledgement of his ambitions and challenges create a sense of depth without eroding attraction. When emotions are shared in a controlled, intentional way, they foster intimacy rather than burden it. Emotional discipline separates a respected man from one who is merely pitied. Women want to know a man has emotions, but also want to see that he can handle them. A man who demonstrates self-awareness, resilience, and a sense of purpose commands respect. He shows that while he has struggled like everyone else, he isn't defined by them. He doesn't need to offload every worry onto someone else to feel understood. He understands himself first. Attraction is not built on endless emotional expression, but on creating moments of connection without losing composure. A man who shares too soon risks making a woman feel like his therapist instead of his partner. A man who shares wisely builds a connection that lasts. 6. Letting her control the relationship. A man who always defers to a woman for decisions unknowingly weakens attraction. While women appreciate being heard and having a voice in the relationship, they do not want the burden of constantly leading. When a man hesitates, repeatedly asking, "What do you want to do?" instead of taking initiative, he signals uncertainty, something that erodes romantic tension. A woman may initially appreciate the effort, seeing it as consideration, but this passivity becomes frustrating over time. She starts feeling like the leader, carrying the emotional and logistical weight of the relationship, and eventually admiration fades. Women don't want to feel like caretakers or decision makers in every situation. If she has to take charge too often, the relationship loses its natural polarity. The attraction that once existed starts to wane because she no longer feels the excitement of being with a decisive, confident man. A man who leads confidently, planning dates, making decisions, and setting direction, creates a sense of security and excitement. This doesn't mean controlling or dismissing her opinions. It's about demonstrating certainty and decisiveness, which naturally inspires respect and attraction. A woman wants to feel like she can trust her man to handle situations, whether making small choices like picking a restaurant or larger ones involving life direction. The key is balance. Listen to her input and value her opinions, but don't rely on her to make all the calls. When a man takes initiative, he signals strength and reliability. A woman feels more at ease, drawn to his presence and engaged in the relationship. She doesn't want to be the one guiding the dynamic. She wants to follow a man who knows where he's going. 7. Apologizing for being a man. A man who constantly apologizes for his masculinity, who suppresses his natural energy in an attempt to be nice, unknowingly diminishes his attractiveness. Women do not desire excessive agreeableness. They crave strength, confidence, and the ability to stand firm in one's beliefs. When a man avoids conflict at all costs and tiptoes around conversations to prevent any potential disagreement, he is not seen as kind but weak. The intention may be noble to create harmony, but the result is often the opposite. A woman feels unsafe with a man who cannot hold his ground. Women are naturally drawn to men who exude quiet strength, are firm yet fair, and do not feel the need to apologize for existing. This does not mean being domineering or dismissive of her thoughts. Instead, it means being secure enough to set and enforce boundaries. A man afraid to assert himself and always yields for fear of upsetting her eventually loses her respect. She may appreciate his willingness to accommodate at first, but over time it feels suffocating. A woman cannot admire a man who lacks a backbone. The solution is not aggression or arrogance, but authenticity. A man should own his masculinity unapologetically. He should express his thoughts honestly, stand firm when needed, and embrace his role as a strong, capable presence in her life. Women respect men who know their identities and refuse to shrink themselves for approval. Strength is not about dominance. It is about unwavering self-assurance. A man who embodies this will never need to apologize for being himself, and in turn, he will naturally command the attraction and respect he desires. 8. Ignoring red flags because she's hot. A woman's physical attractiveness can be mesmerizing, creating a powerful illusion that blinds men to deeper issues beneath the surface. Many men find themselves drawn into relationships where beauty becomes the primary reason for staying, even when the woman exhibits toxic behaviors. The logic is simple but flawed. If she's gorgeous, surely she must be unique, worth the effort, enduring moments of disrespect or emotional instability. But the truth is, beauty does not guarantee kindness, loyalty, or emotional maturity. A man who ignores red flags because he's infatuated with a woman's appearance is setting himself up for a painful reality check. Signs of trouble often appear early: an entitled attitude, emotional outbursts, manipulation disguised as affection, or an unwillingness to take responsibility for her actions. Yet, instead of addressing these warning signs, many men excuse them, convincing themselves that no relationship is perfect or that she'll eventually change. They tolerate being disrespected, feeling undervalued, or constantly walking on eggshells, just to keep the relationship going. Over time, this dynamic drains a man's confidence, diminishes his self-respect, and turns what should have been a fulfilling connection into a constant battle for peace. A strong, self-assured man understands that genuine compatibility goes beyond appearance. He values emotional stability, respect, and shared principles over fleeting attraction. The most beautiful woman in the world cannot compensate for a relationship filled with conflict and toxicity. Peace of mind, mutual respect, and emotional security always outweigh physical appeal. When a man prioritizes character over beauty, he no longer finds himself trapped in cycles of unhealthy relationships. He walks away from drama without hesitation, knowing true attraction stems from emotional and physical harmony. 9. In a healthy relationship, intimacy is an expression of connection, trust, and attraction, not a tool for control. However, some women subtly use it as leverage, rewarding compliance with affection while punishing independence with withdrawal. This dynamic creates an unspoken contract where the man's behavior dictates whether he receives intimacy, leading him to prioritize her approval over his principles. Over time, he walks on eggshells, suppressing his needs and boundaries to maintain harmony. For instance, a woman might engage in flirtatious behavior with other men. When her partner expresses discomfort or sets a boundary, instead of addressing the issue, she withholds intimacy, making him feel guilty for standing up for himself. In another scenario, she might only be affectionate when she wants something, a favor, reassurance, or validation, turning what should be a natural part of the relationship into a form of currency. A man who allows this pattern to continue gradually loses his sense of self, becoming reactive rather than assertive, constantly seeking her approval instead of confidently leading. A high-value man never lets intimacy dictate his confidence, decisions, or self-worth. He understands that a woman who truly values him will not resort to emotional bargaining. Instead of chasing validation, he maintains his standards, knowing that a relationship built on mutual respect and genuine attraction does not require manipulation. If a woman attempts to use intimacy as a means of control, his response is not to negotiate or prove his worth. It's to recognize the imbalance and decide whether he wants to engage in such a dynamic. Genuine connection flourishes when both partners give freely, without conditions or hidden motives. Navigating relationships can be complex, but the key to success lies in self-awareness and personal growth. Avoiding these common mistakes improves your dating life and builds confidence, self-respect, and emotional strength. A high-value man understands his worth, sets boundaries, and never compromises his principles for approval. Remember, attraction is not about chasing, it's about becoming. Focus on your goals, maintain your independence, and lead with confidence. When you prioritize self-improvement, the right people will naturally gravitate toward you. Now, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you encountered any of these challenges in your relationships? What lessons have you learned along the way? Share your experiences in the comments below. If you found this video valuable, Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more insights on mastering relationships and self-development. See you in the next one.